straight from Port Charlotte with Radio Télépuissance. Thank you for you. Thank you. We are grateful that you are with us, that I know that you look forward to this every Wednesday. So we are here once again to talk about the things that matters, the finances, right? So sometimes when people hear finance, you hear money. Finance is more than money, right? So proper planning can lead you to have enough money, to have the money you need to do the things you need to do, the things that matter in life. So today we are talking about estate planning. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Daniella Noel. I am a licensed financial professional. I am able to help clients in all 50 states. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a concern, I am asking that you send it to us, right? Put it in your comments. You can DM me and they will be answered. As a licensed financial professional, I do not only help with getting you the right plan to make sure that your families are okay when you leave this earth, because we are going to leave eventually, right? But it's help you to make that transition a little bit easier on your family, because you'll be gone, you won't know what's going on, but the transition can be easy, the burden can be lightened on your family. So when we sit with a client, we help with credit, with debt management, of course, with proper preparation, finances. But part of that preparation is estate planning. So if I ask you, do you have an estate? And a lot of people will say no, because people will think, okay, an estate, you have to have cars, houses, investment properties. Yes, those are all part of your estate, but your estate is all of your unpaid bills, your bank accounts, your 401k, your pension. A lot of people don't know that upon death, depends on how the account is set up, they get frozen. Your bank account get frozen. Even if you are married, if it's not a joint account, your spouse may not have access to your bank account once the system aligns and advise and alert everyone of your passing. And we have many cases. I've seen personally many cases where families fell apart because of lack of finances, yet the breadwinner has money in their account, but because it's frozen, you have to go through probate. And that's a process that takes a long time, right? Probate is the process of liquidating your assets. So how you can avoid going through probate by having your estate planning ahead of time. Don't wait till you get sick or till you die to think you're going to do it. And don't think that, okay, I'm too healthy, I'm young, I'm healthy. No, the best time to do it is now, because you never know, right? When death is coming, there will not be any alerts. So you need to do it now while you are alert and of sound mind, because once you not of sound mind, your estate planning cannot be done, your will cannot be done, because you are delegating your assets to be overseen, to be executed by someone else. So, which is why the process is done by an attorney. I'm trying to go live. Yes, so we want to make sure that you are ready for your exit on this earth. Now you may say, hey, I'm a business owner, I have an LLC. Yes, you too need estate planning. You need to have an exit strategy as to how your business going to live on. Because you no longer here, that doesn't mean that your business ceased to exist. All right. So again, proper estate planning starts now when you are of sound mind. So your estate planning would include your will. What you would take it, why do I need a will? You need a will to designate people or a person, right? Whether it's your wife, kid, aunt, sisters, to care for you in the event that you're unable to talk, right? A will is a legal document that aligns how you want your assets to be distributed after your death, but it also serves you while you're still living, right? So within a will, you'll have a few documents. You'll have a power of attorney. You'll have a healthcare surrogate. That is someone who can make decisions for you in the event that you cannot talk. You don't have to die. You may be in a position that you cannot make healthcare decisions. So if you don't have a healthcare directive, guess what? Your wife has to go before a judge to ask for permission, right, to make certain decisions for you. I remember vividly, early this year, there's a church in Mount Dora that I go to visit, get connected with people. And I had one session with them. I explained to them the power of having a will, or better, a trust, which we'll get into later. And of course, people say, okay, we're young and we're not sick, we don't need it. Just 3 months after, I went back to the church, and one of the a family there pulled me over, right? One of the attendants pulled me over and said, oh, my husband is in the hospital. He cannot talk. Can I do a will for him? No, it's too late, because he is not psychiatric, cannot talk, cannot sign. So you need to do that when you can give, right, authorization, when you can give directive as to who needs to make medical decisions for you. Because if you have, I have 2 kids, right? I have 2 kids. I can tell you, if I don't have those things in place, there will be chaos, because one will want to leave me to keep me in life support, and the other one may say, hey, let her go. The quicker she goes, the quicker we can get to her assets, right, to her money. So, but if you have it in writing, it cannot be contested, right? So whatever you put on paper, that's what will be executed. So power of attorney, somebody who has authority to act on your behalf. Your finances, they can go to your banks, right? You need someone to make healthcare decisions. So that's a will. If you have kids, you need to have guardianship designations. Because guess what? If you don't, and you have kids, and something happens, even if you are healthy, let's say that you out of the country and something happens to your kids. Now, if they're in a situation, someone has to pick them up. There has to be a designated person that has the legal right to take your kids out of school. If they get hurt, can take them to the hospital. If not, the state will step in, and you do not want the state to be involved in your affairs. So whenever you fail to prepare, guess what? The government is here to step in on your behalf. And they don't always or necessarily make the best decisions for you or your family. So that's why it is important to have proper documentation, whether it's a will or through a trust, right? So estate planning is crucial to avoid probate, to avoid chaos within your family. So let's say you have a house, you have a bank account, you have 401k, right? So if you don't have paperwork, if you don't have a will that designates how they be distributed, they have to go to court, right? So When someone dies, we see a lot of GoFundMe happening in the community. Let me tell you something. They're not necessarily poor. Not all GoFundMes are done because of the person didn't have assets, didn't have funds, because of lack of knowledge. Again, when you pass, your bank account will be frozen if it's not a joint, if your wife is not on the account, if you don't have someone on the account. Again, it depends how it's set up. So if your bank account is frozen and you don't have insurance, you don't have life insurance, guess what? They have to do a GoFundMe for you. Now, many of you may know Cash App. You use it. We use it for our GoFundMes, for our birthdays. The owner of Cash App, who was worth more than $80 million, right? His brother had to do a GoFundMe for his final expenses and to take care of his kids. Because of what? He did not have a trust. He did not do proper estate planning because he probably thought, hey, I'm rich, I'm filthy rich, I'm young, but didn't know that, the next day that he would be stabbed to death in his car, right? Many of you may have seen the video on social media. $80 million, and they had to do a GoFundMe for him. That is lack of preparation and lack of knowledge. Didn't realize that, especially this is a high profile case, your assets will be frozen until the court can decide what to do, who gets what, right? And probate is not an easy, it's not a 1, 2, 3 process. Probates usually begin a year after you pass. In Florida, it's lasting anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So imagine your family doesn't have access to your bank account. Your house cannot be sold. Probably go into foreclosure unless there's somebody who can step in, right, and pay the mortgage. Your kids are affected. School cannot be paid. Nothing can be done for a whole 3 to 5 years until the court decides. Yes, the court will decide how your estate to be distributed. Again, you may say, I don't have an estate. Your estate is your bank, your savings, your checking, your 401k. That's your checking. Your last bill, that's your estate, right? So what happens is when you pass, the court system wants your creditors, right, to be paid before your family gets benefits, whatever you leave for them. So when you pass, an estate through probate is created. And guess what? If you owe hospital bills, if that nursing home bill, that ambulance bill, guess what? They get paid first before your family gets anything. So now you may say, okay, everything goes to probate. Yes, except if you have an insurance, a policy, or if you have an annuity. Reason being, insurance policies don't go to probate because you have a designated beneficiaries built in, right? When you apply for your policy, you say, hey, I want so-and-so to be my beneficiaries. Guess what? That payment, that money goes straight to your family, to your beneficiary, tax-free. The court system does not tap into it, right? So again, if you have an insurance policy, and while it may take a couple days, typically 72 hours or a week, depends on how you died, where you died, right? So if it's a policy that's going to pay out, there's a provision within the policy that you can go to the funeral home, and the first thing they'll ask you, do you have life insurance? Guess what? You can give them that policy, and they will do the funeral pending payments from the insurance company, right? The insurance companies, most of them act very quickly. Within 72 hours, most of them are paying out because they know you need that money to send your families off. So Do you have a life insurance policy? If you don't, get one, because that's one of the easiest ways of avoiding having a GoFundMe for you, because it has designated beneficiary. So again, I'm not an attorney, but I can do the referral. We have attorneys that work with us. It has to be done by an attorney because it is a legal document, right? So estate planning involves a will. Now, it is advisable to get a trust. There's a difference between a will and a trust. A will is how your estate to be distributed, right? To be distributed. Again, your family, if you have $10,000, you say, okay, I want to give 10% to the church, I want to give this to charity, and I want to give whatever to my cousin, to my aunt. So the will do that for you. But guess what? It can be contested. A will is used for your assets distribution. It can be contested because if you have kids and you say 10% for the church, 25 for the grandkids or whatever, say, hey, I don't believe in giving my money to the church. She would have never left money for the church, blah, 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 blah. So guess what? They can go to court to contest it. So that's why we advise for everyone to have a trust. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of assets for a trust. Trust, it is your legal, it's basically your rules, right? You said, this is what I want, and that's what will be done. That's what will be executed. It cannot be contested. Whatever you say, that's what goes, right? It's like you're putting a wire fence around your assets, all right? The court cannot change it. The court cannot bend it, and it cannot be contested. It's basically protection. You want to put protection for your beneficiaries, protection against your debt collectors, because it doesn't go through probate, and nobody can access it, because when you have a trust, you're basically taking everything off of your name and basically assigning it to your trust. So my trust is the Noel's trust. So if you looking for money from Daniella Noel, you won't find it, right? It is for the trust. And also, by having a trust, right, a legal trust, guess what? You can reduce your tax liabilities, help your family not to pay a lot of taxes. Sam Walton was able to help his family avoid paying $9 billion, I think $9 billion in taxes by having a trust. So if his assets had to go through probate, guess what? The court system, typically they take about a third of your estate for the legal fees. If you guys want to look up on Chad Bodwick, Black Panther's history, look at his what happened to his estate. His wife, his family only got a third of his, or 2/3 of his estate, because the court system took a third, and you have to pay for fees, court fees, attorney fees, this fees, that fees. So you reduce your family's tax liabilities by putting protection around your estate, right? So if you look it up, Chadwick Boseman lost a third of his estate because he didn't have proper planning. He did not have a will. He didn't have a trust. And he's not the only one. A lot of people Aretha Franklin, I think her estate is still in probate because of lack of planning. Again, you don't have to have a lot of money. Your bank accounts go into your trust. Again, you have to go through an attorney because it is a document, a legal document. Again, GoFundMes are not always or necessarily because of lack of fund, but lack of knowledge, because we know knowledge is power. Better yet, applied knowledge is power. So I know I come on here, I talk. I don't see much engagement from you guys. I don't know if you are learning a thing or two from me. I hope that you are. And, if you know someone who can benefit from the information, guess what? Share it. Share the live. We all need proper preparation. Now, I do not want you to say, hey, I'm gone. I'm no longer here. Who cares? No, you need to care for your family. You need to care for your community, even if you don't have family. If you have money in the bank, if you have pension, if you have a trust, you can leave it for your community. The community needs your money as well. Don't let it go to unclaimed. There's so much money that goes to unclaimed court, right? Unclaimed properties because of lack of proper planning, proper preparation. Because what happens that, you move away from your family, you pass away, you don't have a will, you don't have a trust, they don't know where your things are at. Eventually, the holder of that asset has to report it to unclaimed property. They cannot hold them in their books. They have to report them to the state as unclaimed property. So you probably have some money out there for you. Go look your name up on unclaimed property, because if you don't have the proper planning in place, if you have the proper documentation to have proper execution of your estate, it goes to unclaimed court. Why would you want to do that? Your family, your community needs the money. So make sure that you have a will, right, to execute on your behalf when you cannot make decision. You don't have to die to need a will. You don't have to be old. We see that death happens at any time. Sickness happens at any time, any age. So you need to have that. So you may say, okay, what's the cost, or is it going to cost me? Hey, what are you comparing the cost to? Losing a third of your estate or spending $1,000, $2,000? I know there are some estate planning attorneys that charges up to $8,000. But guess what? If you connect with me, I can get it done for you depends on what type, if it's business or if it's personal. You can get a simple trust, right? A trust basically providing rules around your assets, right? Trust, protecting your beneficiaries, right? So that they don't lose money. They don't have to do GoFundMe for you. Your assets, your estate don't go to unclaimed court. You can get one done if it's a simple trust for $1,000, for $1,200 when you partner with me. I'll get you a big discount. But the average trust is costing about $3,000. Again, depends, if it's a family. And sometimes you can have sub-trust within a trust. So it depends how much work they have to do. But in comparing the effect of not having one, I think even if you were to pay, if you have a big estate and you were to pay, whether it's $10,000, I think it is worth it, right? So look at what you have. If you have older parents, sometimes they have a will. And just like with everything else, right? When the new year comes, We're doing health check. You're going to the doctor to make sure you're okay. You're checking your cholesterol, your sugar, your salt, your blood pressure, making sure that you are okay. You should be doing a financial check as well. And that includes, the proper will. A lot of people, they have something drawn up, a will. A lot of times I'm seeing they're not signed. What's the point if you created a will? Because some people are getting the documentations or getting a form online. Be careful. Not all of the PDF forms online are legal or updated. So, ask your parents, do you have a will? And if they say they do, check it to make sure it's still valid, to make sure that, hey, they may have been married and they say, hey, my estate goes to my husband, they're no longer married. Yes, no longer married. I've seen a case or two where a will was done. True stories, guys. Husband and wife had a will, and years later, they got divorced. And guess what? It was never updated. And I'm sure you've seen those. Go online, go to the court system. There's always fights, right, between the old wife and the new wife. Hey, he forgot to update his will. Guess what? The ex-wife, right? The ex-wife get to keep the estate, whatever he designated for his wife when he passed. The ex-wife still has her share because he did not update his will to take the ex-wife off the will. So it is important. Don't just do the will and never go back to it, because whatever is in the will, that's what is being executed, right? Otherwise, you'll have a fight in probate, and through that, you would lose money because the court system ain't working for you for free. They're going to tax you. They're going to charge you. So review your will to make sure that it is still valid, it is signed, and it is notarized. If it's not notarized, it's not valid. So making sure those things are in place. You're a business owner. You need to have an exit strategy. What is your plan when you pass on? Who takes over the business? Is it your business partner? Is it your kids? Or you think that the business is to exist because you're no longer here? It doesn't have to be that way. You can will your business to whoever, right? And you have a business, you have a business partner. You can get an executive bonus, right, plan. You can get a policy on you, on your partner, so that when you pass, the business doesn't have to crumble, right? Because you're no longer here. If you were generating income, a life insurance plan on you as a partner can help continue the legacy, right? So what is it? You should not come here and you're gone. There's no legacy. And the only way you're going to be remembered is if you have a legacy, the memories that you leave behind. So business owner, yes, you too need a will and a trust. You need to have exit strategy so that your parents, your family will know what to do with your business, regardless what it is. Your LLC, put it in a trust. You mitigate your liabilities, right? Take it off your name. One reason to have a trust, if you have your parents who are up in age, right? Take that house off of their names. Even if you have a long-term care plan, if the house is still on their name, it's considered as assets. If you're in a position where you need help from the government, guess what? If it's one parent, if it's only mom or dad, they have to liquidate the assets. They have to sell the house, because if you still own a house, you cannot qualify for government help. But by putting the house in a trust early on, their name is not on that deed anymore. It's not theirs, even though they're still living in the house. So that's how the informed protect their assets. So don't tell me you guys are not informed now, but it is up to you to take the information that's been shared and apply it, right? You work hard for your money. It is not illegal to reduce your tax or just pay your fair share. So there are processes, there are legal systems in place for you, just like the wealthy reducing their tax liabilities, you can do it too. So the tax codes are for the informed, not necessarily the wealthy or the poor. The tax codes that allow you to reduce your tax liabilities and leave more money for your families, they are for you too. We call them informed. There's a big difference between the informed and uninformed. But that's why we are here. I'm here Wednesdays to inform you of what's going on, of your rights, of how you can leverage the financial system. The finances, the economy is a system. So a lot of us come here from the Caribbean and, we're working hard, 2 or 3 jobs, right? We think that's the American dream, but it's only the American way, right? We work 40 hours for 30, 40 years to only have about like 40% of our income at the end of the day. But if you can put some strategies in place, right, that allows you when you transition, right, to not leave a burden for your family. Again, I want to say this. There are 2 policies that don't go to probate, that go straight to your family. Life insurance and annuities. The reason being, you have designated beneficiaries with those plans, right? You need to have that. Avoid GoFundMe. Because you may have money, your assets will be frozen when you pass if you don't have the proper documentations in place, if you don't have a power of attorney, if you don't have a will, if you don't have a trust. So today, avoid the headache. Help your family suffer a little bit less, right, by having proper preparation, the proper plans in place. Get you a will, get you a trust, and definitely get you a life insurance plan. You can get one where you can leave millions of dollars for your family. You can get one just for your final expenses, right? Because you have different type of insurances. You have one that building wealth, leaving legacy for your family, but you can get you a final expense just to cover your funeral. Since I was 26, I bought a plan just for my funeral. Even though I have life insurance, I don't have to, have my kids go to lean on my life insurance by the funeral home. I have a plan just for my funeral. Nobody has to fight. Hey, it's 20 grand. I get a $20,000 funeral, whatever it is, right? Even though I don't care if I get burned. I don't know. Oops. Yes, I know we Christians, we're not supposed to get burned. I'm not here. If my kids want to burn me, they want to keep that 20 grand, go right ahead. I don't care. I'm not here anymore. Okay, who cares? So I know Willie will not burn me. My daughter will not. So I don't know about Krista, but yeah, get your final expense plan. So this is it, guys. So we talked about estate planning, making sure you have a proper executed will or trust, so that when you live here, your estate, right, your assets don't end up in probate court, because it is a